That woman walked into the restaurant and everyone stopped to look. It wasn't the expensive dress, it wasn't the designer bag, nor the perfectly styled hair. It was something different, something you can't buy with money. It was the way she moved, talked, and carried herself that created a kind of magnetic aura. This something is what separates ordinary women from the truly elegant ones. And the good news? This isn't something you're born knowing. You can learn these gestures today. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave your like. Each gesture I'll reveal today can transform your social presence. And believe me, men and women will notice this change in you. True elegance is like a rare perfume, subtle but impossible to ignore. I'm Carol from Lucrative Elegance, and I've dedicated myself to showing how elegance isn't just about appearance. It's about presence. I'm that honest friend who will tell you what no one else had the courage to say. At the university where I taught for 3 years, I was always known for my elegant frankness. I've made mistakes I regret, and just like you, I live in this eternal struggle with the scale. My personal trainer would agree that I'm not exactly enthusiastic about the gym, but vanity speaks louder. But most importantly, I learned that elegance and sophistication are skills that can be mastered, just like any other. Think about it. Have you noticed how certain women enter a room and seem to light up everything around them? How some businesswomen manage to command respect without having to raise their voices? The secret lies in the small daily gestures I'll share with you now. Gestures that have transformed ordinary women into icons of elegance throughout history. Before we continue, if you dream of traveling with class and distinction, check out my ebook, Be Elegant When Traveling: Global Etiquette for the Sophisticated Traveler. The link is in the first pinned comment. Because let's face it, nothing screams new money louder than not knowing how to behave when you're outside your country. Gesture 1, saying please and thank you. It seems obvious, but have you noticed how rare this has become? I was in a cafe last week and observed a woman ordering as if the barista was a robot. I want a latte. No sugar, no please, no smile, no thank you. The young man who was serving her seemed to have shrunk 5 centimeters with the way he was treated. Next to me, a lady of about 60 asked, "A cappuccino, please," and ended with a warm, "Thank you very much, dear." The difference in the attendant's reaction was striking. For the first woman, he just delivered the order with robotic efficiency. For the second, he even drew a heart on the coffee and added a complimentary cookie. The same establishment, the same attendant, completely different experiences. The words please and thank you are like small keys that open invisible doors in all social interactions. They show that you respect the work and time of others. An elegant woman understands that kindness is not weakness, it's power. It's a type of social currency that pays huge dividends with minimal investment. Have you heard that you can judge someone's character by how they treat servers? It's an absolute truth. You could be wearing Chanel from head to toe, have just left the salon with a perfect haircut, but if you treat those who serve you badly, your elegance crumbles like a house of cards. Model Emily Ratajkowski was recently criticized on social media for exactly this. She treated a receptionist poorly, and her image suffered more than if she had dressed badly. The difference between the ordinary woman and the truly elegant one is not in the value of her bag, but in the way she makes the people around her feel. Princess Diana, with all her royalty, was famous for treating everyone from heads of state to janitors with the same level of cordiality and respect. And who doesn't remember how beloved she was? Gesture 2, the genuine smile. But Carol, am I going to smile at everyone like a fool? I've heard this question 1,000 times, and no, that's not what I'm saying. The secret is in the authentic smile, the one that involves the eyes and creates small wrinkles in the corners, the famous crow's feet that worry us so much. Psychologists call this the Duchenne smile, in honor of the French neurologist who first identified the difference between true and false smiles. Have you seen that famous movie about fashion with a demanding magazine editor? I'm sorry, I won't mention names, but you know that character who smiles only with her lips while her eyes remain cold as ice? It's exactly the opposite of what we're looking for. A genuine smile is like an emotional signature that cannot be forged. A true smile has the power to disarm even the most difficult person. It conveys confidence, openness, and warmth. In a University of California study, researchers discovered that smiling genuinely activates brain regions associated with reward both in those who smile and those who receive the smile. It's literally contagious at the neurological level. But be careful. Fake smiles are easily detected and can give the impression of falseness or insecurity. Our brain is programmed to perceive the difference, even if we can't explain exactly how we know. Think about the last time a salesperson smiled at you artificially. You felt that sense of discomfort, didn't you? I had Botox recently. Yes, I have no problem admitting this, and I confess that sometimes it's a challenge to show expressions, but I always find a way to smile with my eyes. Because a genuine smile isn't just a facial movement, it's energy, it's intention, it's human connection. Princess Diana, for example, was known for her warm smile that melted even the hardest hearts. Even in situations of extreme stress or personal sadness, she managed to offer genuine smiles that made people feel special. This is the true magic of an elegant woman, the ability to make others feel important through seemingly simple gestures like a sincere smile. Gesture 3. Not crossing your arms. When we cross our arms, we send a powerful subconscious message. I'm closed. Don't approach. It's like building an invisible wall between you and the world. Body language experts consider this one of the most connection-blocking gestures that exist, and we often do it without even realizing it. At a recent fashion industry networking event, I observed two equally well-dressed and attractive women. One had her arms firmly crossed over her chest, looking at her phone every few minutes, creating an impenetrable bubble around her. The other maintained an open posture, hands relaxed at her sides or gently gesturing while talking. Guess which one was approached by more people? Which one exchanged more business cards? Which one received 3 partnership proposals by the end of the night? It's not magic, it's science. Studies of nonverbal communication show that crossing your arms can reduce your chances of establishing new connections in social environments by up to 70%. Even worse, when we cross our arms, we unconsciously begin to process information more negatively and defensively. Body language speaks before your voice and often screams louder than your words. Keeping your arms uncrossed is a subtle invitation to interaction, demonstrating receptivity and confidence. It's a small gesture that says, I'm open to new connections. And let's face it, in a world where the right connections can completely change your life, do you really want to block that possibility? If crossing your arms is a habit for you, try holding a clutch bag, a glass, with water, not too much alcohol, of course. Or simply keep your hands lightly occupied to avoid this defensive position. Your elegance and openness will be instantly amplified. Gesture 4. Focus on social interaction. Who hasn't been to a dinner where half the table is looking at their phones as if waiting for the message that will save the world? It's almost a modern epidemic. Think about it. We pay fortunes for dinners in expensive restaurants to ignore the people in front of us. The truly elegant woman resists this temptation with the same firmness that she resists a dessert when on a diet. I saw a fascinating scene in the restaurant last week that perfectly illustrates this. A young couple, both probably in their 30s, were sitting at the table with their untouched plates, glued to their respective phones. Occasionally, one would show something on the screen to the other, who barely raised their eyes, responded with an uninterested, and returned to their own device. 3 tables away, a middle-aged couple was talking animatedly, laughing, occasionally touching hands, their phones completely forgotten in their bags. The difference in connection between them was so palpable that even the waiter served the second couple with more enthusiasm. When you are constantly looking to the side or checking notifications during a conversation, you communicate a clear and devastating message. There is something more important than you happening elsewhere. Or worse, I'm bored and looking for distraction. A sophisticated woman knows that full presence is one of the greatest luxuries of modern life, rarer and more precious than any designer bag. Sherry Turkle, an MIT professor and expert on technology and human relationships, calls this being alone together, technically in each other's presence but emotionally absent. It's the antithesis of true human connection. I want to share a simple trick that transformed my social interactions. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode when you're in social gatherings. Better yet, leave it in your bag and set a specific time to check it, if necessary. Constantly checking your phone not only breaks the connection with the person in front of you, but also reveals a certain anxiety and dependence that contradicts the elegant calmness we want to cultivate. French writer François Sagan said that elegance is the art of not impressing. The paradox is that by being truly present without digital distractions, you instantly become more impressive, more magnetic, and infinitely more elegant than 90% of the people around you. Gesture 5. Never interrupt. Interrupting someone while they're speaking is like taking the microphone from a singer's hand in the middle of her song. It's abrupt, inelegant, and screams, "What I have to say is more important than you." It's a difficult habit to break, I confess. As a naturally enthusiastic person with 1,000 ideas bubbling in my mind, I literally have to hold myself back sometimes. I know the temptation to interrupt is real, but I also know it's one of the behaviors that most quickly destroys the perception of elegance. I remember an important corporate meeting where an extremely intelligent colleague constantly interrupted others. She had brilliant ideas, was well-dressed, had impeccable credentials. But each time she cut someone off mid-sentence, I could literally see the expressions of others closing, arms crossing. Remember what we talked about? Gazes shifting away. By the end of the meeting, her ideas, even the truly innovative ones, met fierce resistance. Why? Because how we express something is as important as its content. The patience to listen completely before responding is a powerful demonstration of self-control and respect. It shows that you value the ideas of others as much as your own, a rare and admired characteristic. Queen Elizabeth II was famous for her ability to listen attentively, even in long meetings with subjects that certainly weren't all fascinating. This skill made her one of the most respected figures in modern history. And if someone interrupts you, here's the true test of elegance. A sophisticated woman doesn't interrupt back or raise her voice to compete. She doesn't show visible irritation. Instead, she waits for her moment, and when she takes the floor again, does so with grace and subtle authority. As I was saying, accompanied by a slight smile and direct eye contact. This ability to maintain composure, even when interrupted, is a trademark of sophistication and self-control. It's what separates women who react impulsively from those who command respect. Emilia Correa, one of the most respected businesswomen in the luxury sector in Brazil, once told me, "I've never seen a truly powerful woman who needed to interrupt to be heard. Try for a week. Listen completely before responding. Observe how people come to value your words much more, simply because you value theirs first." Gesture 6. Gentle gestures. Abrupt and exaggerated movements rarely combine with elegance. They're like textual exclamations in a formal letter. Watch period films, like Bridgerton, or any production about the British royalty. The most refined female characters move as if they were floating. Their gestures are precise and contained, loaded with intention. It's not artificial. It's controlled. Once, I attended a lecture where the speaker gestured so frantically that she seemed to be shooing away invisible flies. Her content was excellent, but it was almost impossible to focus on what she was saying because her movements were so distracting. In contrast, the following week, I saw a businesswoman give a similar presentation with such precise and elegant gestures that each movement seemed to underline important points. The second one was hypnotizing, not just for what she said, but for how she expressed herself. I'm not suggesting that you walk as if you had a book on your head or speak like a porcelain doll. That would be ridiculous and dated. It's about smoothing the edges, bringing awareness to every movement. A slight nod during a conversation to show attention, a delicate hand movement to emphasize an important point, a subtle smile that appears gradually instead of suddenly spreading wide. Dana Paola, the famous Mexican actress and singer, is often praised for her measured and elegant gestures, both on stage and in interviews. She manages to be expressive and authentic without seeming exaggerated or uncontrolled. Her movements have purpose. Have you noticed how first ladies, regardless of country or political party, tend to have measured gestures? It's not a coincidence or patriarchal oppression, as some might argue. They are trained for this because controlled movements convey confidence and self-mastery. To practice this elegant gesture, observe yourself in the mirror during a phone conversation, or ask a friend to discreetly film you during a normal conversation. Are your gestures wide and dispersed like someone trying to catch butterflies, or are they precise and meaningful? A valuable tip I learned from a nonverbal communication coach: imagine that each gesture costs money, like a taxi with a running meter. You would use them more sparingly and intentionally, wouldn't you? Italian neurologist Maria Montessori said that movements are not only exercises, but an aid to spiritual growth. Smooth and intentional gestures not only appear more elegant, they effectively calm the nervous system and bring a mental presence that radiates sophistication. Gesture 7. Open torso. Besides avoiding crossing your arms, Keeping your torso open and facing the person you're talking to is a powerful nonverbal indicator of attention and interest. It's like opening the doors of your home to a special guest, a silent gesture that says, "You are welcome here." At a recent charity event, I observed a fascinating interaction between a well-known philanthropist and several potential donors. When someone of lesser status approached, she kept only her face turned to the person, while her torso remained oriented elsewhere, usually in the direction of someone more important. When a significant donor came on the scene, her entire body reoriented, shoulders, hips, torso, everything directly facing the person. Guess who left the event feeling valued and who left feeling invisible? When you slightly turn your body away from someone during a conversation, even unconsciously, you're signaling something profound. I'm partially committed to this interaction, but part of me is looking for something better. It's like being physically present, but emotionally elsewhere. And believe me, people feel this, even if they can't exactly name what bothers them. An elegant posture includes relaxed but straight shoulders without that military exaggeration, chin parallel to the floor, neither raised in arrogance nor lowered in submission, and the torso completely engaged in the direction of the person you're interacting with. Nonverbal communication experts call this body alignment, and it's one of the most powerful techniques used by diplomats, negotiators, and charismatic leaders. This seemingly simple gesture conveys a powerful message of confidence and openness. Combine it with consistent eye contact, without that intimidating stare, of course, and you'll have mastered the art of magnetic presence that characterizes unforgettable women. Social neuroscientist Amy Cuddy, in her famous research on power poses, discovered that an open posture not only influences how others perceive us, but also alters our own biochemistry, reducing stress hormones and increasing hormones associated with confidence. It's literally a transformation from the inside out. Try this at the next meeting or social event. Keep your torso completely facing the person you're talking to for at least 2 minutes and observe how the quality of the interaction improves dramatically. People feel deeply valued when they receive your complete physical attention. It's one of the rarest gifts in the age of multitasking and constant distraction. Gesture 8, the art of elegant conversation. Elegance in speech is not about using obscure words that no one understands or imitating an accent that isn't yours. It's about clarity, rhythm, and intentional vocabulary choice. It's about what you say and, more importantly, what you choose not to say. A refined woman avoids excessive slang, obviously avoids swearing. I confess that I have a true aversion to women who swear. I think it instantly diminishes elegance, and doesn't resort to unnecessary jargon. But she also doesn't speak as if she had swallowed a dictionary, or as if she were in a Shakespearean play. She adapts her vocabulary to the context, always maintaining a respectful and accessible tone. One day in a cafe, I witnessed 2 women talking. One spoke so loudly that almost the entire establishment could hear her intimate problems, used slang every 3 words, and dropped a swear word with every sentence. The other responded in a moderate tone, with simple but precise words, and managed to express empathy without vulgarity. When they left, I noticed how people around looked differently at each of them. True sophistication in speech is in knowing how to ask genuine questions and listen to the answers with real interest. It's knowing how to take a meaningful pause before responding to a provocation instead of reacting impulsively. It's choosing words that elevate the conversation and the people around you, not that diminish or degrade. Have you noticed how some people manage to completely disagree without being disagreeable? How they can say no without offending? That is the height of elegant communication. Instead of, "You are wrong," or "That's ridiculous," a sophisticated woman says, "I have a different perspective on this," or "I understand your point, but I consider that." French writer Françoise Sagan once said, "Elegance is not to be noticed, but to be remembered." Your words work the same way. The elegant woman knows she doesn't need to dominate the conversation, speak louder, or use shocking language to be noticed. On the contrary, it is often the moderation and precision of her words that make her memorable. Personally, I hate hearing swear words, especially coming from other women. Vulgar language is like throwing a bucket of paint over a silk dress. It instantly ruins the image you've built with such care. As the proverb says, "Elegance is when the inside is as beautiful as the outside." And nothing reveals our inside more than the words we choose to use. Gesture 9, elegance in walking and posture. The way you move through the world communicates your relationship with it. Hurried and awkward steps suggest anxiety and lack of control. Measured and intentional steps reveal a woman who is comfortable in her own pace. Think about how models walk on the runway. It's not just about looking beautiful, it's about conveying confidence through movement. A practical tip: imagine a straight line coming out of the top of your head, pulling you upward. This naturally aligns your spine and elevates your stature. When walking, keep your steps smaller and more controlled, avoiding abrupt or too wide movements. Elegance in walking is not about looking artificial, but about being aware of your body in space. It's about occupying your place in the world with quiet confidence. I have a complete video on how to walk with elegance, with 14 practical tips that you can implement immediately. To conclude, remember, elegance is not something you wear, it's something you cultivate daily through small, consistent gestures. It's like a bank account. Each elegant gesture is a deposit that, over time, generates compound interest in the form of respect, admiration, and opened doors. Each of these 9 gestures can be practiced daily until they become second nature. The good news is that, unlike a designer bag or an expensive aesthetic procedure, these gestures cost absolutely nothing to implement, just awareness and intention. True elegance is not in external perfection, but in refined authenticity. It's not about rigidly following rules, but about incorporating principles that elevate your natural presence. As Coco Chanel said, I love this phrase, elegance is not about being noticed, it's about being remembered. And nothing is more memorable than a woman who masters the art of elegant gestures. It moves me to see women transform not only their external appearance, but their presence and influence in the world through conscious elegance. I've been receiving incredible messages from followers who have implemented these tips and noticed immediate differences in how they are treated, from receiving better service in stores and restaurants to being more respected in professional environments. If you like these tips and want to transform your elegance into something lucrative and impactful in all areas of your life, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. Each week, I bring new ways to elevate your presence and refinement. And don't forget to check out my ebook, Be Elegant When Traveling, in the link in the first comment. Because true elegance doesn't take a vacation when you travel. In fact, it's in unfamiliar environments that our genuine sophistication stands out the most. I'm Carol from Lucrative Elegance, and I'm here to help you cultivate not just the appearance, but the essence of true elegance. Until the next video.